but that one's closed, so it's just this one bridge, and it's divided, and all the traffic has to go on this bridge. But if this actually makes it to a video, what I am going to do is, I didn't know my sister didn't winterize her pool, so I'm heading over there to winterize her pool for her, and I never threw up a pool winterization video the entire time I've been doing pools professionally and all that stuff, and being on YouTube, so I don't know why I never did that, but that and bringing up a pool, those are two videos I wanted to do, and I don't know, 9 years in, still haven't done one, so I figured, what the heck, let's do one. So, heading over there right now to do that. I figured I would just show off some of the bridge here. We're still on the bridge. We are doing like 60. How about that exhaust? That's how loud it is. Anyway, we're on our way over there, so let's go do that. Yeah, so I guess in this video, this is for pool winterization where I live. I live in Northeast North Carolina. It's not that cool. As a matter of fact, you go like 5 hours south of me and you don't even have to winterize your pool, I believe. But so this is just for here. I know when I lived in Pennsylvania, completely different winterization steps. You had to break out the antifreeze and do all that kind of stuff. We're not going to be doing that. All we are doing is making sure that the lines are clear of water, and pretty much all you have to do is make sure there is air in the lines. If you think about it, you have your pipe, and if it's full of water, and water expands when it freezes, and if you have your pipe full of water, it will, boom, crack the pipe. But if you actually have air in there, that is usually just enough. And again, colder temperatures, it might not be that easy, but you'll have just enough air in there that when it contracts or expands, it doesn't break your pipe. So around here, we have a freeze depth of 1 inch, I think, maybe 2 inches. So it's not anywhere near, like, say, where my parents live in Pittsburgh. It's like 3 feet, I think, 2.5 feet, something like that. So you have to do completely different steps with their pool. But down here, we don't have to worry very much about it. I was thinking earlier, those portable hot tubs, which means the ones with the cabinets and stuff, they call them portable because if you unhook the electricity, you can move them to wherever you drain it, and you can move it to wherever you want, and then rehook up the electricity. That's why they're portable, as opposed to one that's, sunken into a deck or something where you can't actually move it. But even with those ones, we never used antifreeze. I never even used a shop vac on the lines. I would just pull the drain plugs, let it drain as much as it would. Air would get in the lines, and whenever it would freeze, those also have the flex hose too. So they're a little more lenient than like hard PVC pipe, which you're going to find in a pool. Well, no, they do have flex pipe as well. Oh, look at that. The police were right next to me. I had no clue. Doesn't matter. Might have looked scary, but they are 3 jurisdictions away. Or they are from 3 jurisdictions away. Alright, this one's going to be windy, but here's our pool equipment, and it's up and running. I just turned it back on. So now we're going to go ahead and flip it to backwash and start draining out the pool. Right over there. See that water moving around a little bit. Doesn't look all that great, but who cares? We're winterizing. Doesn't matter. And so on my filter, see it's in the filter position. You gotta flip this all the way around to backwash, which I always turn the power off for. But so I'll do that. Start backwashing and see what happens. Shut off. There you go. So, here's our inlet side right here. I need to figure out which one is the main drain and which one is the skimmer. Skimmer? Yeah, not plural, just one skimmer. So I need to figure out which one is which and shut off the skimmer. I'm going to guess that's the skimmer. And go find out. Alright, I guess I guessed straight because I don't see anything moving in the skimmer. So it should be on the main drain, which, where the heck are these? Oh, it's got dulls on the wall there. But you can see it's nice and green. What we're shooting for is these jets. You can see that jet right over there where the water comes out back into the pool. It's also called a return because it returns to the pool. We are going to get the water level below that so we can cap it off after we suck it dry with the shop vac. So that's always fun. But right now it's still backwashing, so give it some time. Alright, I got the sump pump out and have that thing pumping into the yard because when I was backwashing it was coming up against the house. I didn't want to flood the house. And just a reminder, anytime you work around water and it's plugged into a GFCI, but always use one of these extension cord GFIs because they will fail off. I've said this many times before, whereas the test reset plugs that you have, those can fail on, which means that there's still electricity going through there. So always use one of them. Put this thing backwashing again. Do a little trick here. Got the water level to where I'm getting it. And now it's just about right. We're below the skimmer, so let's turn off the main drain, turn on the skimmer. Let that thing go, cavitate the pump. That's it. There's that. Now, all we have to do is pull all the drain plugs. Got one in the front here on the Hayward super pump, another one right here on the side, one in the chlorinator right there, and one right over there in the filter. Alrighty, here we go. We are already done. I did my trick on the line there, pulled a lot of the water out of there. Went and pulled my drain plug on the front, drain plug for the impeller on the side, drain plug for the chlorinator, and the drain plug for the pool filter. Also, I like to pull the gasket out of here. I just put it right in there because, well, it's a gasket, and I like to just throw them in there. And usually, if they're all deformed like this one, it's seen better days and everything. But sometimes by springtime, it's ready to go. And then I always just throw the lid back on after I put everything in there. I also pulled the pressure gauge as well as the sight glass with the gasket and put the filter in the winter setting, which is just holding the gasket up off of where it seats, so it will go ahead back to normal over the winter. And last thing I do is with the chlorinator lid, I like to take it all the way off because there's a gasket in there too, and just set it on there and just give it a turn. Come on. There we go. Just so it is seated, not the gasket, but just so the lid does not fly off with the wind or anything. And then what I will do is put these on there just enough to make sure that lid doesn't come off. That's it. Then we'll go over there and I'll blow out the lines. I'll show you that in a second. All right, more wind. All right, right over here, I've got my trusty old shop vac here and got my line going into the skimmer. I just go ahead, turn it on, get all the water out of the lines, and that's all we're gonna do. We're not even throwing a gizmo in there. Normally you would, and we didn't go that far down with the water level, just below the skimmer, and we're not gonna remove the caps or the returns and put in caps. So we're going cheap on it, and like I said, our freeze level is not that far. So one fun thing I like to do with the skimmer here is with the shop vac running, you can hear that whistle. That's pretty much coming from the drain plugs there and a little bit around here where the gasket isn't. That's pretty much how you know you are free of all the water in the lines. It did suck out a bunch of it, but it's all good to go now. So, like I said, this is not for everybody, this winterization technique. It is only how we can do it around here. So, and like I said, we were going cheap on this one, so. And this pool's been here for a few years. It's never really had a full winterization. It's pretty much been the pull the plug here deal. So, but that's it. That's all I got here for the winterization. Normally a fun thing to do would be
operate that, or take a 5-gallon bucket and throw a bunch of 3-inch chlorine tabs in there. Well, before that, drill holes in the, what I like to do is here's a 3-gallon bucket. But if we had the lid and everything, what I like to do is drill holes at the top of it. That way, when you put it into the put the lid on, and when you put it into the water, the lid can actually leak, but you'll actually have the air trapped up top. Fill it about halfway with water and just let it float around the pool. That technically, it's just like a giant floating chlorinator, and that should keep chlorine going into the pool. But since this one's already green, that would be a waste of chlorine, so we're not even going to do that. So anyway, hey, it's the strip club. Part of going from the 2 lanes we're supposed to be in, figuring out how to switch to another lane on another side of the road. Okay, still light enough to do that. Perfect. Where did I go? What way? We are back on the bridge. Thanks for watching. That wasn't, I said it a couple times, just want to say it again, that wasn't intended for an informational, this is how you winterize your pool kind of video, but here in the South, that's what we get away with, winterizing our pool. Also, I was going to do a full winterization on there, train it down below the jets and everything, like I said at the beginning, blow out the lines and everything. We didn't have caps, we didn't have a gizmo. Gizmo's the collapsible bottle that you put into the skimmer, screw it in there, so whenever if it fills back up with rainwater and it would freeze, it will actually, the bottle is made to collapse, so the ice will actually collapse the bottle instead of going outward on the skimmer and breaking the skimmer. But we didn't have one of those. Actually, I have one not for an in-ground pool. It was for an above-ground pool, so it's a lot smaller, which would have worked fine, but it has a crack in it, so we couldn't use that whatsoever. And I asked if they wanted to grab new stuff. They said no, so no big deal. So that's the way we went about it. And if I would have known that at the beginning, I probably would have done nothing except for pull the drain plugs. Reason being, like I said, we only get like 1-inch freeze. Well, that's not going to break the skimmer, and everything else will be well below 1 inch, so we wouldn't have to worry about anything. I would just pull the drain plugs on the equipment above the ground and let everything drain out, and that would have been good enough. But hey, if nothing else, winterizing the above the ground equipment, the chlorinator, the pool pump, the pool filter. If you have a pool heater, you would have pulled the valve on that, and what I like to do is the unions going into the pool heater, I will unscrew them until you can actually just get a little tiny gap between the gasket and the sealing area, just so, again, with the gasket trick, that way the gasket can go ahead and you know, go back to normal like they like to do. Which, there you go. If you take anything out of this video, look, we're on the hump of the bridge. If you take anything out of this video, that's your tip. Gaskets, if you ever have a bad gasket and you have to get a new one, hold on to your old one, just set them somewhere. One of my favorite things is in my truck, I would just take the gasket and put it on my gear shifter or my turn signal and drive around like that when I was doing pulls. A week later, it will like go right back to normal, even if it's like, you know, when your gasket gets too big or anything like that, but it'll go right back to normal. So, but anyway, that's your only tech tip out of this. If you live in the South, maybe that'll help you, but if you're in the North, do not do what I did. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, checking out what's going on and what I'm up to. That's what I was up to today. So don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Come back, check out the live streams. We do those every once in a while. We'll catch y'all. Fun, happy social media stuff down below. Don't forget that. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Till later. Till then, later. Screwed up my own outro.